Sit back, it's time to get groovy. Question, do you remember that movie?
Welcome back to Remember That Movie. I am the third Alejandro Rosa on IMDb.
And I am Steve Johnston, and I am not on IMDb. And I have a cold.
He does indeed. But despite that, we are back with another episode and another movie. For this episode, it was my choice, and I kept us, I believe, in the very same year with the last film that we did. I believe that was 1998. Now, to be fair, this film, if you really want to split hairs, it's actually 1998 and 1999 because of a weird distribution thing. But we'll get to it. The film we are going to talk about today, 1998's Waking Ned Divine. Steve, had you seen this film before? Do you have any history with this film? What do you remember about Waking Ned Divine, if you have any memories?
I remember seeing it in the video store, walking past it many a time, and I remember it being on the list of ones that we wanted to watch, my group of friends in high school, but we just didn't. We never got to it. I knew of its existence, but beyond that, no real experience with it.
This is your first Waking Ned Divine?
This was my first Waking Ned Divine, yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's very exciting. Or you hated it, and then it won't be exciting, but it'll make for good content. For my end, I have to say that I thought, I definitely saw this in theaters. And then I looked at the years, and I was like, did I, though?
The math just doesn't add up.
I think I might have seen the trailer in the movie theaters, but I think all of this is flawed memories, to be perfectly honest. However, I have seen this film. I feel like I saw it more than once. Maybe we owned it, maybe we didn't. I have no idea. It's very vague and hazy up there.
Okay.
But I do remember one thing. I remember loving this film when I watched it. And so I was very curious. Waking Ned Divine, do I remember it right? Do I still like it? That was the question I had for myself and why I picked this film. So before we continue, let's look at the description on the back of the DVD/VHS, I'm not sure. In a little Irish town called Tullymore, which few people have visited and fewer had heard about, lived Jackie O'Shea and Michael O'Sullivan, two lifelong mischief makers and ardent lottery followers. So it was with great excitement that they read in the local newspaper that a resident in their little town is a lucky ticket holder. It doesn't take long before Jackie decides that he and Michael becoming friends with the winner could be a lucrative relationship. After several unsuccessful attempts at finding the winner, they eventually discover the lucky soul, Ned Divine. Unfortunately for Ned, he's dead from the shock with the ticket still in hand and a smile on his face. Jackie, terrified at the thought of losing the winnings after being so close, hatches a plan to impersonate Ned and collect the fortune. All goes well until the lottery representative turns up to check the claim. Steve, do you ever play the lottery?
No. No, I used to when I was younger, but I haven't done in ages.
I used to more. I think now once in a while when they're like, it's going to be $700 million or something like that, and everybody at work is like, I'm going to get one. I'm like, well, why not?
Why not? If you don't play, you can't win.
That's right. And the odds are horrific.
Oh, yes.
I don't know about you, but I have definitely had the fantasy thoughts. Were I to win, what would I do with this short, wealthy life that I now have? What could I do with it? So I find that fascinating. I think we all want to dream about that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You spend
Absolutely.
$1, $2, and suddenly you're however many $1 million richer. So we kind of have this in Tullymore, except it's a little tiny village. It's not even a town. It's a village.
It's a village.
In Ireland. With a population of, do you remember?
52.
52. It's so specific. It's 52. And it's wonderful. And we have our characters. This is not a big film. This is a very small film.
Yes.
And our main characters, which they've already described, is Jackie and Michael. Two older gentlemen who are just the best of friends.
Yes.
And I love them. I love them both so much.
Here. They were adorable.
I mean, it's like it says, right? They find out somebody in this town of 52 people has won. They've won the lotto, which they think was how much?
They were betting on it being about £500,000.
And like any small town, they try to figure out who it is, right? Who got it? And they talk to the local person who has the store, because out of the 52, not everybody plays the lottery. I think it's like 28. And so they start scheming, trying to figure out who it's going to be so they can befriend them. You know, all in good fun, by the way. These are not evil people. These are kind people. And so they do it in this process of trying to figure out who is going to be. They try one thing, they try another thing. Eventually, they invite everyone who plays the lottery for a chicken dinner. Everybody comes and they have a great time, and they're just schmoozing and pouring alcohol for everyone, and everyone has a great time, which even that was charming to me. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Inviting 20-some people to your house from the town that you live in just so that you can share a meal, whatever your, desires were, right? It was still sweet. And at the end of it, they come up short. Nobody is fessing up to have bought a ticket. And then Jackie's wife, who I love,
Yes.
Annie, she shows up. She goes, I've got one chicken thigh left. Right? Was it chicken thigh, chicken leg?
I think so, yes. Yeah, one piece of chicken left.
I have one piece of chicken left. And he's like, okay.
I'm full. I couldn't possibly.
She goes, no, that means somebody didn't show. This leads them to going to Ned Divine's house with the chicken. Hey, Ned, you forgot your chicken. And that's when we discovered that he died. And not only did he die, he clearly died watching the lottery, because he is in the exact position of sitting there holding a ticket in his hand with a big smile.
Even knowing that was coming, that scene was, it struck me as a little sad, because the house is dark and Jackie goes in and you just get a shot down the hallway and the TV's on with static, and it's like, oh, poor Ned.
Not only is this a death of somebody that they know, but you later find out, especially from Annie, who talks about him, and later Maggie, they all say the same thing. Ned Divine was one of the kindest souls. And Jackie has a dream of being on a boat with Ned. And that makes him think, I think Ned wants us to have the money, all of us to have the money. I think that's what Ned is trying to tell me in this dream. There is something so unbelievably charming about that, in my opinion. And so this starts this kind of like, okay, well, how do we do it? What do we do, right? Well, we just call. We call and we claim it. No problem. But of course, there are problems. There are twists and bends along this storyline.
Yes.
There is something about this movie that is so tiny. It takes place in just a matter of days with a very small group of people. And then on the other side, we have Maggie. And then we have Finn, who is also called Pig Finn. Maggie and Finn seem to have had a relationship.
Yes.
And then at some point, Finn became a pig farmer.
And Maggie cannot stand the smell of pigs.
Maggie cannot stand it, and apparently every time they come close to each other, she can't help but smell the pigs. It's a hilarious star-crossed lovers that can't be near each other. And he's always trying different things to not smell like pigs. At some point, Jackie gives him some fruity soaps, thinking that will help. It's the sweetest thing. They clearly like each other very much. She just can't be around him because of the smell. That's kind of our little lover's story on the side. This film was cast predominantly with Irish actors. And one, I'm not going to say just one, because I didn't pull up everyone, but one particular actor who was Scottish. Jackie O'Shea, played by Ian Bannon. He's a very famous Scottish actor.
Oh, okay. Very good.
He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 1965 at the Oscars. It was the first time a Scotsman had been nominated for that award for The Flight of the Phoenix.
Oh, excellent.
Do you know what that film is?
I do.
Of course you do. He was an acclaimed stage actor. Interestingly enough, most of these actors we're going to talk about are all very famous stage, TV, and film actors. They all just did extremely well. They were all wonderful. One of the things that I thought was fascinating, he was one of the original members of the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Oh, really?
Apparently, he even met his wife after he performed as Hamlet. So he was a very big deal stage actor. David Kelly.
David Kelly.
David Kelly playing Michael O'Sullivan.
He is an actor who I feel I should go out and seek out more of his work, because every time I find him in something, he is an utter delight, and it was wonderful to see him in this.
A very famous Irish actor, one of the most recognizable voices in Ireland.
Yes.
He famously played Mr. O'Reilly on Fawlty Towers, and he played Grandpa Joe in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the 2005 version, not the original. In 1991, he was the winner of the Helen Hayes Stage Award for Outstanding Supporting Performer for the Kennedy Center revival of The Playboy of the Western World. He was from Dublin originally.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Someone else who's from Dublin is the actress who played Annie O'Shea, Jackie's wife, Fionnuala Flanagan.
Now, where do I know her from? Because her face looks very familiar.
She's been in a lot of things, just like everyone else. She did stage, she did television, she did film. She was an Emmy nominee, she was a Tony nominee. She had a recurring guest appearance on the TV show Lost.
Oh.
Which I never saw.
Okay, that might be where I know her from then.
I missed the Lost Boat.
It wasn't a boat, it was a plane. Sorry.
She was rated number 23 in the Irish Times list of greatest Irish film actors, of all time. There are two other pretty well-known actors in Ireland who performed in this. We have Susan Lynch, who played Maggie O'Toole, who was also an award-winning actor from Northern Ireland, known for theater and film. And we have James Nesbitt, who plays Finn, a.k.a. Pig Finn. He is also a famous actor from Northern Ireland.
I recognized his face.
He's been in more modern stuff. I actually know him from one film credit, which is actually a movie that I really like, even though I have, statements about it.
Okay.
But overall, I really like it. It's called The Way. It's actually written and directed by Emilio Estevez and stars Martin Sheen. And we will probably do it at some point on this podcast, mostly because it gives me an excuse to watch it for the 800th time. So we probably will do it. But that's where I actually saw him for the first time and really loved him. And then we have a small group of actors from the village itself. One thing to point out is that we haven't talked about yet is who made this film. It's in Ireland. We have all these Irish actors, one Scottish.
Yep.
But it was actually directed by a British person. Kirk Jones is a director. He's a screenwriter. And he wrote essentially a 10-minute short film called Waking Ned. Little known fact, Waking Ned is the title everywhere else in the world. In America, they made it Waking Ned Divine, because apparently Waking Ned was not good enough. This is his first feature film. He would move on to direct Nanny McPhee in 2005.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody's Fine in 2009. What to Expect When You're Expecting in 2012. And in 2016, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. There's so many little moments in this film. There is one famous moment. There is one famous moment that anytime they show clips of famous films, they show this particular moment. Do you know what that moment would be?
No, I don't.
Anytime they do a montage of films,
Yeah.
if they include Waking Ned Divine, it's always going to be this shot. They're told that the Lotto Man is going to come to Tullymore. Jackie's like, I'll just pretend to be him. Except that the guy shows up super early and runs into Jackie and Michael, except Michael is hidden behind some rocks.
Yeah.
And so he meets Jackie, and he's like, oh, sure, what are you looking for, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I'm looking for Ned Divine. He goes, Ned Divine, you don't say. Oh, I can show you where he lives. And so Jackie gets in the car with the Lotto Man, as they call him. And Michael gets on his motorcycle, because they have a motorcycle, because they like to go to the beach together, and they ride around in a motorcycle.
You're leaving out a very important part.
I'm getting to it. And
Okay,
so
very
this
good.
scene is Michael has no time to get dressed because they just take off their clothes and go into the ocean in the nude, which is fantastic. We have a great shot of the two of them just running towards the water, and it's the cutest thing in the world. May we all look that way.
Yes.
So Michael is panicking because he doesn't have, Jackie can only stall for so long. He grabs his helmet and goggles and puts them on, but he doesn't have time to put on anything else. So this is a scene in which we are cutting back and forth between Jackie driving the Lotto Man around and Michael riding around his motorcycle buck naked as he's trying to get to Ned's house to pretend to be Ned. And my favorite is when they finally get there, nobody's answering the door. And Jackie goes, "Oh, let me check the back." Michael can't get in the house. He can't get the door open. And Jackie just looks at him and goes, "Michael, where are your clothes?" He said, there wasn't any time, Jackie.
One of my favorite bits out of that entire sequence was Michael attempts to put his pants on. He picks them up, he tries to get a leg in, and it just doesn't work, and he just then gives up and does the motorcycle helmet, and off he goes.
It is so funny. And I have to say, I watched this, probably at least 20 years ago, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I watched it last night, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is one of the key moments of Waking Ned Divine. And there's another scene. There's a follow-up naked scene. Michael pretends to be Ned. He tries to put on Ned's clothes, and they don't fit. So Jackie takes off his clothes. Michael puts them on.
Right.
And then it's like, wait, where are all his papers that Jackie had collected from the house? He's like, we left them at the beach. So the next shot is Jackie naked on the motorcycle heading towards the beach to go get the documents. So funny. It's hilarious, and then we add a little extra hilarity at the end. The other thing that makes me laugh about this is that when he gets the vital records, he keeps saying that his tummy is upset. That's what Michael keeps saying, right? And so at some point he's just like, "Oh, can you give me your birth certificate, your date of birth?"
Oh, yes, I've got it memorized. It's 3.
He's in the bathroom drinking while just pulling up different papers and just reading
off vital information.
So great.
It's marvelous.
So we think they've pulled it off, right? He goes, "Okay, this is great." And this is when we get the big discovery. When he goes, "Oh, and by the way, how much is it?" And he goes, "Oh, sure. It's and then he quotes him a number which is almost $7 million.
David Kelly's acting when he's told the number and just the look of shock, disbelief, surprise on his face is fantastic.
And so he says, "Great, nothing else. The only thing I need to do now is I need to come back and, check in with the village and make sure you're Ned Divine." And this is where it gets even more charming, right?
Yes.
Because they have a meeting with the village.
The entire village.
The entire village. And they go, for this to work, for us to get this money that we will all share equally.
Yep.
We all have to say, that's Ned Divine. And that's the other kind of side plot of this whole thing, is that they all have to be in agreement or else it doesn't work. And we have one holdout, one angry older lady, who later points out that if she reports fraud, she'll get more money than if she were to share with the other 51 people. One of my other favorite lines, he says, "How will we know who he is?" And he says, he sneezes because he gets hay fever every time he comes to the country, so he can't stop sneezing. And this comes back to us later on in the funeral scene. One of my favorite scenes in this entire film.
There is one other detail that I would like to mention now, which will come up later. When Jackie is leading the Lotto Man on sort of a wild goose chase to delay his arrival at Ned's cottage, he keeps complaining that the Lotto Man is driving too fast, so he can't keep track of where the roads are. He's going too fast. Just keep that in mind for later.
Once everyone is in agreement, yes, this is what we're going to do, what do we cut to? Everyone at the local pub just buying drinks after drinks after drinks. And then we have a cute little side story, which is Maggie's son, who is a young boy, probably all of 10 or 12 years old, hanging out with Father Patrick. Father Patrick is a temporary priest. Is that correct?
Yes,
yeah.
Priest.
Because the other one is on sabbatical or something like that. So he's only there covering for a while. Okay, so he's a young priest, Father Patrick, and they're having these conversations throughout the course of the film. And it's the cutest thing in the world. There is one side story that will play a part later, which is that who is Maurice's dad? Finn assumes it's his, that's my son, right? Me and Maggie were together, that's my son.
Yes.
But she never says. It's fascinating. And we learn the truth in the end. And it's not the truth you think it's going to be, which is another just kind of delightful thing. Here's how great this film was. My wife never watches these movies with me. She's not a big movie watcher. Once in a while, she'll watch something, but seldom ever does she ever watch. I was sitting at the table, Steve, and I was watching this with my earbuds in, and she came over and she had our dinner ready, and she said, take off the earbuds and play it. I like this film. And we actually watched most of it together, and we laughed through all of it. The whole thing. That itself was kind of miraculous to me, right? Because she just doesn't like that many films. So to have her just love this and just laugh with me. And then we got to the funeral scene. And I have to bring this up because this is one of my favorite scenes. It was my favorite scene 20 years ago. It is still one of my favorite scenes. They have a funeral for Ned, right? Because he died. So they're having a funeral for the man. The whole village is there. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And Jackie stands up to speak about Ned. And it just so happens that this coincides with the Lotto Man coming back. And there's this great moment where he's looking for people in the village. He can't find anybody. Right. Because they're all in the church. And then he walks into the church and he immediately sneezes.
And every head in the church turns to look at him.
Jackie's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then you can see it. You can see the idea pop in his head. And he says, he realizes he can't give a eulogy to Ned. So he's going to do a eulogy to his friend, Michael O'Sullivan.
Yes.
And I can tell you with certainty that the first time I watched this scene, I wept like a baby.
It does not surprise me. The sentiment that he shares is absolutely beautiful.
And he starts by saying, wouldn't it be amazing to be able to attend your own funeral and hear the beautiful things that people would say? And maybe even get to say something yourself. And then he goes into this speech about his friend, Michael O'Sullivan. And I cannot, I'm already getting teary-eyed just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because I wept like a baby last night. I was like, oh, this is that funeral scene. And it was like, friendship. And I cried. I actually just teared up thinking about it. It's just a beautiful scene because what happens is Jackie is giving his friend a eulogy and the camera keeps cutting back to Michael.
Yeah.
Who is so moved.
Yeah.
And it's...
Okay, now you've got me welling up.
How can you not?
I was holding it back so well.
His face. And he gets a little teary-eyed. Yeah. And you're just like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Anyway, cool stuff. Sports. But don't get us wrong. The rest of this film, it's just pure comedy. It's pure funny. It's pure sweetness and care and love and community. And I think that's the really cool thing. It is community. These people are looking out for each other. And at the same time, they're honoring Ned. There's no disrespect at all.
No.
This is not about that, right? This is not about anybody coming out ahead. It's just this great story about a small community trying to do something really silly and in the process helping each other. And I was completely charmed by it. When they get it done, when they win, they get it. They get the money. They get that check. They even figure out how to cash it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, they have a big party. And Maggie, who we've seen multiple times throughout the course of the film, is sitting next to Jackie. She looks at Jackie and she says, what do you think? Do you think it'd be better for Maurice to have $6 million or to have a father? And Jackie kind of looks at her and he's like, having a father would be better than $50 million. And then she tells him. She says, Ned is Maurice's dad. She's a young lady, so there was a huge age difference between her and Ned. But she says, he treated me better than any man ever. He says, you should take it. You should take all of it. Just take it. Give it to Maurice. Immediately, that's his instinct.
Yes.
And that's what I love about the character of Jackie O'Shea. He is selfless.
Yes.
And she's like, no, because to take it is to tell Finn he's not yours.
Right.
And she chooses no. She chooses a family instead of millions. Then at the end of the film, several of them, after they've had this huge party, they go up to a hill and they toast Ned. And the film ends there with this beautiful moment of them toasting Ned Divine. And once again, like just Niagara Falls right here on these two eyes, I could not help it. I watched this film before. I had a very positive reaction to it. I think I even have a stronger reaction to it now because I am older.
Okay.
I've lived longer. My relationships with people have in some ways gone deeper.
Yeah.
I understand the passage of time and friendships of length and what that means, right? I can understand the Jackie-Michael relationship a lot better now. So for me, the film aged even better because I get it more now than I did probably 20 years ago. But that was me. Steve, you had never seen this film. Tell the people, and I promise I will shut up. Please, please, Steve. Tell the people how much, you know what? Tell them how much you hated it. That would be hilarious.
Oh, as much as that would be funny, no, I loved it. This is such an adorable, charming, you've said several times, and that is exactly the right word for it. I'm glad that you told me that the writer-director, Jones,
yes,
was British, because my thought while watching this was, this just oozes with a British style of comedy that I've seen in TV shows and movies, etc. And it just hits perfectly. I absolutely love it. All of the things going slightly wrong, which just prolongs the joke. Oh, I don't have any clothes. Here are mine. Where are the papers? Back in the phone booth. Okay, he's off. Naked on the motorcycle. And then he comes back and his wife finds him like, what are you doing? There is a scene that it made me laugh because it was one of those scenes where we knew what was going to happen, but they still managed to do it in an unexpected way. When the village is all celebrating, they realize that the local curmudgeon, what was her, Lizzie, I think was her name?
Yes.
Is not there. She's the one who's threatened to report everyone for fraud and collect, a reward. And they realize, well, there are no working telephones in the village because a storm has knocked them all out. What is she going to do? Walk to Dublin, at which point we have a shot of the road, and Lizzie in her scooter slowly rises up over a hill. We see her very slowly trundle through the countryside, and then the battery dies, so she gets off and starts walking. Gets to the phone booth that Michael and Jackie were at earlier in a different scene. And then we get the Lotto Man. And remember, Jackie said he drives too fast. And he does indeed drive too fast. And you see where this is going. Lizzie in the phone booth on the edge of the cliff. The Lotto observer driving too fast. Like, yep, I know where this is going. And then they don't do it.
They don't.
He sneezes and then swerves at the last minute, but then nearly hits the regular priest who is returning from sabbatical in a van, causing him to swerve, and it's him who knocks the phone booth off the cliff. And let me do you remember from the movie Blues Brothers, there is the scene in which the car with the Nazis, goes off a ramp and then falls through the air for, a full minute before hitting the ground? The same thing happens with this phone booth. You see it fly, and I mean launch off the side of the cliff and fall down the cliff and fall some more and then finally hit the beach and just smash. And I was in stitches at that point. You mentioned earlier, I think, that this is a small film. It's a very small in scope. And I was trying to figure out how big it was going to get. Where would we end? Where would we wrap the story up? And I do like the fact that it's just a matter of, no, the village gets away with convincing everyone that Michael is Ned, and they get the money and they split it, and that's it.
That's it.
We don't need to know any more than that. Everyone is happy, and that's fantastic. So no, I loved this movie. It was great.
But do we think critics love this movie? Do we think this was a success?
I'm going to say yes. And the reason I'm going to say yes is because I knew of its existence and I've heard it mentioned over the years. You're going to tell us this in a minute, but I want to say it was also nominated for some awards, wasn't it?
It's a good question, and I misremembered the answer because in my brain, this movie was nominated for Oscars.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Yeah. No.
No.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. I don't know why it wasn't. I don't understand that. Thanks, Academy. It had a couple of nominations, but it wasn't to the Oscar level. It was indeed a very small film. I think it was a more popular film than expected. One of the things about this film was that it was limited release the entire time. Like, they never had a wide release. They did a limited release in the United States in 98. They did a limited release in different places in Europe in 1999. That year, it was like the second most successful limited release film with a budget of $3 million. It ended up making like $19 million in the United States as a limited release, which is really good. Second top limited release film that year. The other one was the Blair Witch Project. Total, it made $55.3 million.
Fantastic.
On a $3 million budget. The director said, the only reason we were able to make this movie is because cast and crew agreed to like lower pay. Everybody took pay cuts, the actors, the crew, so we could make the film. And we literally finished the film and we put it in a car and drove it to cons and showed it at cons, and Fox Searchlight bought it after the viewing. Just for anyone who's wondering, it does take place in the fictional village of Tullamore.
Yes.
But it was actually filmed on the Isle of Man.
I was going to ask you about that because I vaguely remember seeing the symbol of the Isle of Man, the weird like three-legged thing in the credits.
This movie has great reviews from fans, from the audiences. People loved it. Here's a quote. A heartwarming comedy with a delightfully light touch. Waking Ned Divine finds feel-good humor in some unexpected and unexpectedly effective places. And we are incapable of doing an episode without talking about Roger Ebert. This is not something that we have chosen to do, folks. This is something that just keeps coming up.
It just kind of happens.
We look for a quote for a movie, and Roger Ebert seems to have reviewed every film that we've ever done. He also liked this film. He made two comments that I really enjoyed. Another one of those delightful village comedies that seem to spin out of the British Isles annually. Waking Ned Divine can take its place alongside Local Hero, Comfort and Joy, The Snapper, The Van, The Full Monty, The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill But Came Down a Mountain, Braised Off, Eat the Peach, and many others. The other part of the quote that I really loved, because I just thought this was great. The treasure of the local population is Michael O'Sullivan, who is played by David Kelly in what can only be described as a performance arriving at the ultimate reaches of geezerdom. Kelly, with his twinkling eyes and turkey neck, is engaging, conspiratorial, and delighted by all things not too wicked. Kirk Jones, our director, got a BAFTA nomination for Most Promising Newcomer, an award I did not know existed.
No, that's fun.
The cast itself was actually nominated at the Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Cast. And David Kelly actually got a Screen Actors Guild nomination for Best Supporting Actor. I recently went to see the film Conclave, one of the Oscar nominees this year. We're in 2025. Conclave has an incredible cast, incredible everything. Everything about it, from costumes to cinematography, everything is perfect. You watch it and you go, this is a great movie. There's nothing here that I can fault. I think the same thing about this movie. I'm like, what am I here to fault? Everything about this movie works beautifully. The music is wonderful. The acting is great. The writing is funny. It's wonderful. And what I will say is that you don't come across that often. One of them has a bunch of Oscar nominations. One of them should have had Oscar nominations. So that's Waking Ned Divine, or Waking Ned if you are not in America. I have talked at length, but I must stop. I must let go of this delightful baton and pass it to you because sometimes I need to shut up. And so please tell us, where do you take us next?
I'm going to take us back to 1977 for an animated film. I invite you to join us as we look at Rankin and Bass's animated version of The Hobbit.
Thank you so much for joining us for this journey. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Please like, subscribe, whatever thing you have to click on whatever platform you're on to make it so that it makes us happy and makes the algorithm happy. We appreciate it. It helps us continue to do this. We clearly enjoy doing it, and we love sharing it with you. We love to read your comments. It's just a fun journey for us.
Yes.
And so please catch us next time when we go back to The Hobbit animated.
Sit back, it's time to get groovy. Question, do you remember that movie?